Hey everyone. Happy Tuesday it is. I'll just see if anyone's around to jump on. I just had a few minutes I thought I'd pop on here, and a lot of people are interested in transitioning to a natural lifestyle for the health benefits, reducing their health risks for things like cancer and hormone disruption and infertility and thyroid disorders or whatever it may be. I can see someone's jumped on. Hey, Ellie. And I wanted to talk about today why, there are a lot of things that we can do on the outside that will give us that natural lifestyle around us, reducing toxic load, that kind of thing. But I guess what I want to talk about is the concept of starting from within. And what I mean by that is, when people join my oils team, for example, the first thing that I focus on with them is getting their emotional state stable, uplifting them emotionally, getting them feeling good in their body so that they have the motivation and the drive and I guess just the desire to do things that are naturally healthier for themselves. Because if you take someone who's feeling in a really low place, struggling in whatever way it may be, mental health issues, or, that's the most common one that I come across and that I definitely have experience with myself. People struggling with their mental health, people struggling with anxiety and depression, mood disorders, they're going through tough times financially or, whatever it may be, their parents and, all of the highs and lows that brings. And so I think it's so important to be focusing first on your emotional state, because if you're not in a good place, you're not going to be feeling motivated to go and make a natural cleaner. Things feel too hard. It feels more like overwhelm on top of how you're already feeling. So, I talk a lot about transforming your home and reducing toxins wherever you can, but I think it's got to start here. So I wanted to offer today some ideas for that. It's all the stuff we know, it's all the stuff we've read, but sometimes it's really hard to live it. So I wanted to share with you guys what I do. I've definitely, in the last, if you saw my post recently, I've been through some challenges over the last few years, and I've really had to dig deep to find tools that work for me, to bring me back to an emotionally good place most days, where I can do things that are good for me and for my girls. Saying my connections week, so hopefully you guys can hear me. So the first thing I would say is some kind of mindfulness practice is, hey darling, is number one. So whatever that is for you, people do meditation and yoga, whatever, but even if it's just let Millie out, even if it's just something as simple as sitting with your feelings when they come out this way, honey. So when a hard feeling comes up for you, our natural tendency is to want to squash it or deny it or cover it up or do something to make ourselves feel better. And I'd say the number one thing that you can do, the first thing that you can do, and you don't need anything for it, is rather than covering it up, reaching for food, reaching for drugs, reaching for shopping, reaching for TV, whatever it is, just sit with it. Know that it's a feeling, and it might be an uncomfortable feeling, a very uncomfortable feeling. You might feel like you're physically in danger and it's hard to be in your body, but if you can sit with the feeling and just start to watch it. I say that to my girls all the time, to watch their feelings, watch whatever's coming up for them. I would say that, oops, for anyone who's wanting to start to make positive changes in their life, you have to, becoming aware of your feelings when they're in your body, you know, and anyone can do that. So hopefully that makes sense, but that's my number one tip. Number two would be food. Food has such a big impact on our mental state, and two things about food. The first one would be, you know, the whole concept of intuitive eating, and which is different to emotional eating. Emotional eating is one of the ways we cover up those uncomfortable feelings. So I've got a bit of a theory that if you can learn to sit with uncomfortable feelings rather than covering them up with food, that you'll never need to go on another diet again. And it's not easy to do, but it's a practice like anything else. So, you know, sometimes maybe you can do it and sometimes maybe you can't, and it's both. It's okay. It's a practice. It's nowhere that you get to. It's something that you practice for the rest of your life. Being okay with uncomfortable feelings. And the other thing about food is we all know what kind of food nourishes us. We all know what kind of food takes away our vitality, and that's going to be different for every person. But you know, in your truth, in your heart, when you're not feeling emotional, you know what food is good for you. So I would say eat that food, because that's going to help to uplift you. And that's not to say deprive yourself or anything like that, but we all know the difference between when we're eating out of love and when we're eating out of fear and wanting to cover up hard feelings. So food's, you know, has a huge impact on mindset for sure. And then I would say, you know, so for those who've just joined, you know, we've said what I've shared is what has helped me to find a positive mind frame to then want to do good things for myself, rather than coming from a place of force, where I don't have the energy or motivation. If I want to stay in bed all day, I'm not going to want to get up and make natural cleaners. So being with your feelings rather than covering them up, nourishing yourself with good food, get outside is number three in some way. You know, go for a walk, get a bit of sunshine on your skin. I don't know, I mean, everyone's got different beliefs about that, but that's something that always makes me feel better and I think is healthy in moderation. Just getting some fresh air and getting some perspective. Number four would be some kind of gratitude practice. So whether that's in the morning, just coming to mind, you know, being grateful for having a roof over your head or having clean water to drink, or it can be the most simple thing. But, you know, and sometimes when we're in a low place, we look around and we think that there's nothing to be grateful for, but there is always something you can find. And when you tap into that feeling, it expands and you attract more of that to yourself. Another way to have a gratitude practice, if you're more of, you know, if you're someone who likes to write, a journal by your bed at the end of the day. Maybe you can jot down 3 things that you feel grateful for. Like, these are not new ideas, you've probably read them before, but there's a difference between reading them and doing them, and they work, and that's why they're in so many of these books. And then the last thing I would say is, you know, obviously I sell oils and I believe in oils. That's not what this video is about, but they're definitely something that have supported me. So it might not be oils for you. It might be something else for you. But, you know, if you can find an anchor or a trigger that brings you, that reminds you, it triggers a change in your brain. You know, it might be a colour that you associate with a good feeling. It might be a smell, which is what I use. I use essential oils. It might be a ritual that you have, yoga or meditation, or there might be something really positive that you associate with a good mind frame. And the way to kind of create that anchor or trigger is to do that thing or use that thing when you're feeling good. And do it often when you're feeling good. And then when you're not feeling good, use that thing then, after you've kind of built in that memory, so to speak, and that triggers you back to that good feeling. With things like essential oils, you know, symbols, crystals, whatever it is, there's definitely some that are associated with creating changes in the body. So there are some oils like vetiver and citrus oils, which are anti-anxiety, that are known, that are shown in studies to have a certain effect on our limbic system in our brain. So you know, there is some science behind that to support the use of those kind of things. But yeah, so when people start, for example, an oils journey with me, that's where I always suggest to start. Start with your mindset. And then once you're feeling stable, once you're feeling elevated, once you're feeling like you're starting to see the light and the joy in life again for the things that are already around you, you know, when you are coming from that place, it's so much easier to up level from there and start to talk about things like life purpose and personal growth and stepping into your truth and letting go of stuff that doesn't serve you. That stuff is so much easier when you're coming from a positive mindset. So no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through right now, no matter how shitty you're feeling, and no matter how long you have been feeling that way for, I just wanted to, I guess, make this video to say I've been there too. Like, I have been in the absolute depths of darkness. And there are simple things that you can do to start to shift that, to feel different. So that's all I want to say. If you have any questions, please feel welcome to PM me. I'm not, you know, I'm not an expert. I don't mean to be condescending or anything like that, but I just from someone who's been there, who has had mental health struggles for all of my life, who has found a place of stableness and steadiness. I guess now I just want to share that with others, because I see people struggling around me all the time, and mental health is the thing that comes up all the time. Mental health and money. Mental health and money blocks, and time, people not having enough time. So yeah, and I get it totally. I totally get it. I feel you. But there are, you know, there are simple ways to feel joy in the everyday, not just in the sometimes. So if you're willing to choose that, but yeah, number one, sit with the hard feelings when they come up. They can't hurt you. And what I mean by that is just close your eyes and just let it be there. Don't try and stop it. Don't try and tell yourself you're okay. Don't try and squash it down. Just let it be there. Let it come up if it needs to, whatever it is. And from that place, when you can sit with the hardest feelings that are in you, you can do anything, and you can transform any kind of addiction or dependency or whatever, because you don't need them anymore, because you know that the feelings you're trying to squash are just feelings. And they're transient, and they change, and they pass, and they come back, and then they pass, and, you know, it's not really you. You are the one who is watching the feelings. So, bit of a ramble for a Tuesday Arvo. Hopefully this message reaches someone who's meant to hear it. Thanks for being on this journey with me, guys, and I will talk to you soon.